everybody. It's been a week. It's like midterms, all that stuff, right? Exhausting. Anyway, welcome back to our, I guess, 4 weeks. I don't know how many I'm gonna do of this look, but of our 4 weeks of Halloween. As you can read from the title, today we are going to be doing clown makeup, but I'm going to do it with a little bit of a twist. So I know last week I said that I wasn't going to do any FX stuff, but I think I am going to incorporate a little bit. This can also be done with makeup though, and so don't feel like you can only do FX on this look. So enough said. We're going to do the same pattern as usual, so we're going to jump right into the voiceover. Okay, so for our first step is we are just going to put the liquid latex onto our face, where we will use it as kind of a glue to stick down our cotton balls that we sort of tore up to put onto our face. So that's just our first step, pretty typical as always. I just made sure to line up how far I wanted the cotton to go outwards. And after we stick it to our face, we're going to put the liquid latex back on top of the cotton to pat it down and make it look more skin-like. And I just used 2 pieces on each side, and I would actually recommend connecting it closer to your mouth than I did, because mine were a little bit farther than I would have liked, but that is also a stylistic choice. So you can do whatever is good for you. And you don't want to talk a lot while you do this, because otherwise it'll make the liquid latex peel up a little bit. And here I am doing it on the other side in case you wanted to see what I was doing a little bit more closely. So that's just an example of what I'm doing by gluing down the cotton ball to my face with the liquid latex and then putting the liquid latex on top of the cotton ball to pat it down and make it more skin-like. So what I'm doing here is just putting down a mattifying translucent powder so that the liquid latex doesn't look quite as shiny, and it can make it look more like a skin texture. I'm using the Laura Mercier clear one. I wanted to use clear as opposed to colored because I will be putting white face paint over it. So I didn't want to have any color that would maybe mess that up a little bit, becoming so like white as I wanted it to look. What I'm doing here is just putting white face paint all over my face. I put it in my eyebrows because I decided to do some fun colors in my eyebrows later, and I didn't necessarily want to glue them down. So I just put white face paint in there, and it did work out, fortunately, because sometimes that doesn't. So if you do have thick eyebrows like mine, you might want to consider gluing them down to make them disappear before trying to put eyebrows on. But it did work just as a color filler. So all I'm doing is putting the white face paint all over my face, including on the liquid latex. And I chose to leave it as aligned on my jawline so that it would feel a little bit more like a mask as opposed to the entire body being the clown. I just thought that that added like a little level of creepiness that I kind of wanted to achieve. And I also did put this on my eyelids as well so that it would have that base color for when I did my eyeshadow later. So what am I doing here? I am using my finger, which I wouldn't recommend, to dip into the liquid latex and then put onto the already existing FX makeup so that I could take floss and stick it on and then put the liquid latex on top of that, so that it would look as though I had sewn the floss through those cheeks, through those like cuts in my cheeks. I would recommend poking holes through the liquid latex because this process took a lot longer than if I had just poked holes through and had already included the floss. Additionally, I would consider making the floss black or using a different kind of string maybe. I just didn't have anything else accessible, so I used floss and didn't think about coloring it black until later. So those are some of the mistakes that I made that hopefully you can adjust if you ever try this look. So here I am coloring in the cuts on my cheek with a brownish reddish eyeshadow. I later fill this in with scab blood, so this I just like to add to give it a little bit more depth. So that's just what I'm doing here, and after this you'll see that I add the scab blood into those cuts, and that's it. You can also see that I am marking where the entry and exit wound, like hole, for where I'm putting the floss as if I was sewing it through my cheeks are, so that I can add scab blood around those later as well. So what I'm doing here is just adding a black pattern below my eyes and above my eyebrows. I chose two different little like clown patterns that I used on opposite sides to kind of make it a little bit more interesting to look at. You don't have to do this, I just liked the way that it looked. You can choose to do it however you would like. And later, after I fill in all of the black lines, I will be adding eyeshadow below those to give it a little bit more of like a clownish look. So here is the black lines after they're all filled in, and I am just starting to put eyeshadow onto my eyes. I chose like a pinkish purple to put on my eyelid and then on the opposing underneath my eye. And then I chose a blue to put on the other eye and on the other opposite underneath my eye. Here I am drawing a really long, thin wing. I just chose to fill in that space between the end of the eyeshadow and the beginning of that black line underneath my eyeballs. So I just chose to do a really long, thin wing that went like very far out, but it was super skinny. Here I'm just applying eyelashes, so all I did was line the edge of the eyelashes with eyelash glue and let it get tacky before putting it on. I chose a little bit of a bolder eyelash just because I wanted to give a little bit more dramatic, innocent type look, so this is me doing that. Here I am drawing the mouth on the back of the hand that I used as like a little bit of a cover up for the rest of my face so that it wouldn't look as scary until you moved your hand. Kind of stole this idea a little bit from the new Joker movie, the way that they like had the mouth on the back of the hand. It didn't quite turn out the way that I wanted it to. Essentially all I did was just try and draw a mouth, but that's not really my strong suit. So I'm not going to tell you too much about what I did because I didn't think it turned out great and I don't want to mislead you into doing something that didn't turn out great. So maybe there's another tutorial out there somewhere that can teach you how to draw a mouth on the back of your hand with makeup. After this, I just drew a little bit of a like doll-like mouth onto my actual lips using a crayon lipstick. I chose like an orangish red color. Thought that it would fit well. I honestly chose this because I couldn't open my mouth super far, and I also wanted to make it look a little bit creepy. So that's why I chose to make the mouth look smaller. What you see me doing here is just putting scab blood around those previously eyeshadow-filled areas, so I put it around the entry and exit little needle wound as if it was being sewn on my face, in addition to the gashes along my cheeks. After that step, I just put some of the scab blood on my nose so that it would look like a red nose, but also was a little creepy with the blood, and then I went back in and filled in just a little bit more after filling in those little areas with white again just to make it permeate. Okay everybody, this is the final look. It's pretty hard for me to open my mouth, but I really tried. I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you liked this look. Subscribe if you did enjoy, like this video, let me know if you try it out, and like always, I will see you in the next video. Bye!